Hi, you guys. Took me a while to create that page on diversity. I did a page on diversity. And here, let me share it to you. Hold on. I'll do it this way. Share. There we go. So I have this celebrate diversity page that I put in my beginning module. Not the learning, actually, the orientation module. After they learn about me, then we're going to have this celebrate diversity there that I had before, but I just made it much more extensive. I have a picture here, image, which is the our E6, or what is that, E5 thing. It shows everybody sort of a mixture of merit students, which is, I think, appropriate. And then I want to go into, I go into the learning process a little bit, how new information, the brain is exposed to new information and how it needs to integrate that and in order to apply it in assignments. And so that is important, and therefore to really make an environment that the brain can be doing a good job in that, and bring all that information in and process it and to get the best out of it. So that's what our foundation is, what we want in the classroom. And then I talk more about, as it turns out, I can just read it. Our work is best, our brain works best when we feel like a belonging and we can trust each other. And for that to happen, we need to be understood for who we are, and to make sure that we create such an environment of nurture. For all of us, it's important that we think about our preconceived notions we might have for one another. And so I introduce that in there a little, and then I go a little more into biases and why we actually have biases. I said the brain processes experiences by learning from their outcomes. So that's a judgment that basically sees an experience dangerous or pleasurable. And then, like, for example, if we eat a food that makes us sick, we're not going to eat that again. We need to learn from that. We need to have a bias basically built. So it's important. And then the other thing is, research also has shown that if we have routines in our daily life, we actually free up space for our brain to think about other problem solving things. So categorizing information and consolidating in is not bad, but it has a downside. And the downside is that this evaluation and judging process can create an unconscious bias we hold of each other. And stereotypes are like a lens through which we see one another person, and having this extra filter hinders us from understanding each other for who we really are. And what I'm asking me and the students to do is to analyze our biases, our stereotypes, and learn some strategies to mitigate them. To mitigate them. And the one reason why we want to do that is, I go a little bit more, again, bring it back around, that we want an environment that everybody feels comfortable, participate in, and that such a space, that's the important part, such a space helps us to tap into our collective wisdom, which is a rich resource of brain power, especially since we are fortunate to live in an area where people come from all over the world and live very diverse lives. That gives us the benefit, really, if we open for it. And so then I go into discussing this thing a little bit with some infographics that I thought were really cool. This unconscious bias one is nice, how it talks about what it is, the flaws in our thinking, just went through that. But then how we can mitigate that and how we can deal with our biases by reading about them, learning about them, being mindful about them, thinking critically about problems, not just black and whitish. And then taking challenging assumptions and traditions that we have and practicing empathy. So those are some of the things that we can do. And I like the way that they portray it here. And then the other one I brought up is the place of belonging, how the schools can create a learning fostering environment. And it just, this infographic shows how what students reflect on, and they have some percentages on, you know, sexual orientation, biases, socioeconomic status, and then how we engage others, how that works as well. And then also how the leaders of the school help foster a nurturing, multi-diverse or diverse environment, and then also what the courses are doing with that, and then how the students learn from that and want to bring it into the community. So it's a really nice infographic, I feel, to show us that the schools really are, a lot of schools are really trying to do a very good job. And so that's sort of the information page. And then I'm going to create a couple activities around that. One, I want them to make a video, talk about biases that they had, or an audio, learn about technology a little bit. And the other exercise I'm working on is sort of work with minority medical, it's an anatomy class, medical field people, such as like Marie Curie, who created X-rays in 1906. She got the Nobel for that. And that was very unheard of at that time. And people like that, I'm thinking of having students research a little of that and then putting a pin on a Google map and have a picture and sort of think about themselves a little, what does that mean? And the other thing I've been thinking about is creating something around how diversity or adversity can give us strengths as well. How feeling like, oh, this is not working, I'm not so good in thinking, like for me, that was often the case. And then what do I try to do? Create classes to enhance that problem that I had with the schools and try to solve that problem a little bit. And I think to kind of bring that adversity into strength connection, I think, is also somewhat important, because life is not just supposed to be easy peasy, not that it is, but we want to, I think, discuss those relationships multifactorially. Anyway, that's all I have to say to that. Thank you.